Have you ever played Among Us? Then these gonna look quite familiar. Hey guys, if I timed my video well, it means that the Aqara G2H Pro is being released today and it's gonna be available on Western markets. Previously I actually covered G2H in this video there, but it was only available in the mainland China server, which basically hardly usable for us Westerners. But now we have good news, because this is actually, I guess, 2-in-1, because this is an IP camera and a ZigBee 3.0 hub for your Aqara devices. In regards to the shell, nothing has changed. Aqara G2H Pro looks exactly the same, which means I had to look at the bottom of the device to actually tell one from another. You still get magnetic swivel base with a little razor that you can use to adjust and angle the camera the way you want. Obviously the camera is not moving on its own, and it connects via Wi-Fi 2.4 GHz to be precise. Unfortunately no 5.0 band is present at the moment. It comes with 1080p resolution, two-way audio, infrared for night vision, and storage on a microSD card, this time around up to 512 GB. That's quite a lot actually. But what's new and makes completely sense is the integration of the ZigBee 3.0 hub, because, well, just in case you don't feel like splashing out on Aqara hub M1 and M1S, which I reviewed in this video here, then you can simply just get the cameras instead, and that way you're gonna have an IP camera and a ZigBee hub in one. You're probably gonna save a bit of money as well. It is an indoor camera, so there is no weatherproofing, and unfortunately at the back you're gonna find a micro USB port instead of USB Type-C. Come on guys, Aqara, what happened to USB Type-C? It's 21st century. Anyway, it's time to move to most important feature, which is the audio and video. Now this is a 1080p camera, which is decent for indoors and probably a little bit lacking if you just want to point it outside. But it's a good news there, because the sensor itself has a good dynamic range, and even on a sunny day the shaded areas have enough details, so nothing's gonna be lurking in there. There are some compression artifacts because, well, it is storing all of that footage of the microSD card and it's trying to make the best out of the limited storage, but this is to be expected. Nighttime performance, it's perfectly adequate. If you're using it indoors, the illumination from our infrared LEDs will fill entire room with light, and even if you point it at outdoors, you're gonna get enough details to figure out what's going on the outside. Just remember, don't point it through the window, otherwise those infrared LEDs gonna create a lot of reflections. What was really good on the Chinese edition was the audio, and I'm pleased to say that the two-way conversation works very well as well. And this is what you can expect from audio on Aqara G2H Pro. And obviously this is a two-way conversation, so enjoy the sound from the other side. There is a very little latency, everything happens almost instantaneously, and the audio going both directions sounds quite good. Show Aqara camera.
Okay.
It looks like Aqara listened to the feedback and made this model available for Westerners, especially people in US, Canada or European Union, and UK. I'll have to keep on mentioning it that way, and I... Anyway, so apart from bringing this camera to Western markets, they also introduced new features, and let's start with detection. Just as before, you will be able to detect motion events and abnormal sounds, so if something loud happened in the middle of the night, the camera will be able to start recording as well and notify you about it. Now the motion events are separated, so you can either trigger stuff based on motion events, human detection, and define sensitivity of the camera itself. So you will be able to control the frequency of these events, how strong they are, also where in the frame they happen, because it comes with a detection areas, and set up privacy zones which will black out the areas you don't want to record. Very useful if you have some sensitive information present in a frame. What's really cool is the ability to add your own tags, which means you can color code your timeline according to different event types. You'll be able to customize it to your preference. That way your timeline will be very clear. And it's very easy to use as well, and if you're continuously recording, then just you can use pinch to zoom in and scroll to timed events. So what's so pro about Aqara G2H? Obviously one of the things is a ZigBee 3.0 hub built in, which means if you have Aqara ZigBee devices, you'll be able simply to link them directly with the camera without the need for an external hub. That'll obviously save you some money and trouble and help you to build up your mesh if you're planning on getting more than one camera. Everything works pretty well, especially that you could use the ZigBee devices to trigger different functions, select different configurations, or enable or disable recording. With additional settings and timers for active periods of recordings and sleep times, this camera can be really nicely controlled, especially if you're going to use all the ZigBee sensors like contact or motion sensors to trigger different settings on the camera or start recording and send you notifications. By the way, you can also set custom ringtones to let you know what's going on or just welcome you at the door. One of the really cool features that I haven't seen anywhere else is the ability to create time lapses. Now, it's not the most practical feature, but it's cool nonetheless. Now you can set up the time lapse, which are gonna last up to 15 seconds in playback. That will span up to 24 hours, so you can configure when it starts, when it ends, etc. And those look fantastic, especially if the weather patterns or cloud patterns looking quite fun that day. You probably noticed in the title of this video that it comes with a NAS storage, and I haven't touched on the storage just yet. There's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it was a slightly weird choice for Aqara not to include any cloud offerings. So by default you'll have to get an SD card in order to store any footage, unless you're just interested in live streaming. Without the card you will be still able to open the stream on your mobile and record it directly to your mobile, but obviously you won't be able to store any of the footage when the application isn't actively recording. As the Aqara G2H Pro supports up to 512 GB card, there's gonna be plenty of space for that. But what's new is the ability to send whatever on a card to a NAS storage. What's really nice that the videos are stored as MP4 files, so they are easily accessible. You'll be also able to control upload time from real-time uploads to delayed up to 1 day, and the retention policy, and decide how long the files are stored on your NAS drive. Unfortunately, the NAS option wasn't directly working with Windows network shares because it only supports Samba 1.0, but once I set up a Samba on Raspberry Pi, I had absolutely no problem sending over and synchronizing all the files from this device. It was working pretty swiftly. I'm really pleased that this camera has hit Western markets, especially with all the improvements that Aqara put into the Pro version of the camera. Now, I know that this camera aims more into the consumer market, but ability to send all that footage to NAS opens up DIY home automation space, as people will get creative ideas how to tap onto that and use that in your own automation. I use quite a bit of Aqara stuff with NodeNoughTECH and ZigBee to MQTT, which is great because I'll be able to tap into that content streamed from Aqara and perhaps make a use of it. So if you are interested, in the description of this video you're gonna find a link to the camera itself, which is priced $69.99 with additional 15% discount at launch, but be quick because the promotion only going to last a couple of days. I'd like to thank Aqara for sending me this camera early so I could have a review ready for the launch date, and if you're interested in all the ZigBee stuff from Aqara and how to use them with NodeNoughTECH and ZigBee to MQTT, then I have a couple of interesting videos on my website, so do check it out. As for now guys, I do not have a posting schedule, you know how it works, I'm not going to explain you all that. However, do use my social media if you want to have access to information about what I'm working on, and leave comments with links because YouTube is notorious for blocking these and I have no access to those. So thanks so much for watching guys, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Take care, bye!